Okay, we are filming. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you have just stumbled across this video because you maybe were searching travel nursing or nursing in general, my name is Maddie. I became a travel nurse about 2 months ago, and I'm just going to do a brief Q&A with the questions you guys asked on Instagram to fill you in on kind of my journey so far, what's been going on, and try to clarify a few things for you guys. Hopefully it's helpful. And if you're a loyal subscriber, thank you so much. Before we begin, if you guys wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I have tons of different content about nursing, operating room nursing, lifestyle, fitness, health, married life, all the things. So if you guys don't mind subscribing and liking this video, it would help me out a ton. And let's just hop right into it. Okay, I also wanted to mention, welcome to the new living room. This is our second house in the travel nurse journey. So we moved in with my sister-in-law. If you guys have been following along with the vlogs, then you probably already know that, but we moved in with my sister-in-law. It's a very cute, aesthetic little house. I have the fireplace going because it's the first day where it's felt like fall here in Seattle, and I am in a sweater. Oh, almost just fell out of the chair. I have my Uggs on, and I am feeling all the cozy vibes. I actually got sent home early from work today, so I unpacked all my fall clothes, and here we are, fireplace and all. And it's kind of funny because this is a real fireplace, but they don't let you burn anything in it because it's a rental. I don't know. So we have the YouTube fireplace. Okay, so let's see. First question. How did you decide if the hospital would be a good fit for you / your experience? So I had a little bit of a leg up in this area. My sister-in-law works at the same hospital that I work at now, and she's done a couple travel contracts at this hospital previously, so I knew that it would be a good fit because she's worked here several times. She knew kind of the environment, the people, and was able to kind of steer me in the right direction for my first contract. Also super nice that I got to do my first contract with her. So all in all, I don't really think there's a way to fully know if you're going to fit in or fully know if it's going to be the right fit for you. I think it's kind of a leap of faith no matter which direction you go in. For travel nursing, depending on the state, the size, the trauma level, all of those different things, the types of cases that they do most frequently, I think you can kind of tailor it a little bit in that aspect when you're looking for your jobs. Just tell your recruiter, or you can actually put it in as filters on your portal. But you can specify things like number of beds, trauma level, types of surgeries they perform, and if you want ambulatory surgery center type area versus, or like even clinic if you're a floor nurse and you're not, I'll try to not speak specifically for surgery, or if you want like a bigger hospital, teaching hospital, level 1 trauma center, stuff like that. So that's kind of a very long answer to that question. I don't know if that's helpful, but it's actually quite a small world once you start traveling. I feel like a lot of people know each other from their home hospitals, and maybe people have traveled there. So it's actually kind of a smaller world than you think, and you'll make connections really easily. So that's just kind of a cool fun fact that I've noticed. The next question is, do you mainly circulate or scrub as a travel nurse in the OR? Can you only do services that you know? So in my experience, and I don't know how it is for floor nursing, but for OR nursing specifically, there's a whole bunch of things and questionnaires you have to fill out before you actually get accepted to a job. And then I had an over the phone interview with the travel nurse manager at this hospital prior to accepting my contract as well. So we had an in-person phone call, on the phone interview, and she asked me questions like, what are my specialties? How many years of experience do I have? Do I feel comfortable doing XYZ? Because they asked like, do I feel comfortable doing neuro and transplants? Because that's something that they do a lot of at this hospital. So I think they just kind of tailor it depending on where you end up wanting your contract. They do a lot of preemptive things to make sure that you're at least qualified and or comfortable to work in that atmosphere. So I do think they do a good job of like the vetting process. So that's services. And then, so yeah, for the most part, I only do services I know. I will say they do have me give breaks in rooms that I am not 100% comfortable in, but it's a 15-minute break. Anyone can get through a 15-minute break. Same with a 30-minute lunch break. So they had me, the other day, they had me giving lunches in otolaryngology, which like personally I have no experience in, but I can circulate any case at this point. So no, they don't have me scrubbing at this job. Again, that's something that they kind of pre-vet your experience when you're doing your phone interviews and or answering the questions in the modules. So it's, again, it's kind of up to you what you want to answer, like how you want to answer those questions. And sorry, you guys can hear the washing machine. Yeah, it's up to you how you want to answer those questions and how thorough you want to be with your experience. It was told to me by a few people that if you state from the beginning that you know how to scrub and you're super confident in scrubbing, then they probably will have you scrub quite a bit. I do have experience scrubbing, but not every service line. The hospital I'm working at here, they are very, very nurse heavy in scrubs, and I think that they just, I told them I had very little experience scrubbing. I didn't say, I mean, I just said what I was comfortable with, and they haven't had me scrub. So I think it depends on the hospital. I think it depends on how much they need scrubs, and what your experience level is with scrubbing. At this hospital, they do lots of complex cases, so I wasn't comfortable saying that I know how to scrub them because I genuinely, it would take me too long. I felt like it would take me too long to feel comfortable or to train to do all these different high acuity cases. So there you go. Next question is, do you have call requirements or not? So I do think this depends on the hospital, but I do have call requirements. It's pretty minimal. And that's something that you can try to negotiate in your contract. I know they do have a minimum requirement for all the travel nurses. So for example, I haven't been on call once yet, and I am only on call twice in this current call schedule, which is a 6-week schedule. And then the following one, we haven't chosen call yet. So it hasn't been too bad. I will say though, I am on the general call team, and I know like my sister-in-law, for example, is on the cardiac thoracic team, and she has to take call at least once a week. So, and their call is like 24 hours on the weekends, things like that. So I feel pretty fortunate that I'm just on the general call team because that's what, again, what I'm comfortable with. This hospital has trauma call, or sorry, they have transplant call, cardiothoracic call, neuro call, and general call. I think those are the 4 different ones, and I'm just on general call. So kind of narrows it down and hasn't been too bad. So check with your recruiter and make sure it's in your contract before you sign, what your call requirements are, and also what your callback pay is going to be. That is super nice. It's pretty high for travelers, your callback pay. So that is something to definitely look out for and make sure it's in your contract before you sign your contract to start. Okay, next question. How did you feel like you were making the right decision to leave a stable / comfortable job? I wouldn't say that I left a comfortable job. I'm not really going to go into much detail. There were several questions about this. Hopefully someday I can talk about it, but the long short of it is that it was no longer a healthy environment for where my life is right now. I wanted something different. We wanted to change, and don't get me wrong, it was a very difficult decision. It took a lot of thought, months and months and months of thought into figuring out what the next step for us was going to be, and this is just kind of the direction that it led us in, and it was down to the wire. Like, I had 2 other job offers back in Denver. I had a job offer in Utah. We were kind of trying to let God lead us down the right path. So I don't feel like I have a really good answer to that, other than just knowing in my gut and my heart and soul that it was the right time to leave that previous position. And again, it wasn't easy. It took a lot of thought and lots of prayer and just long conversations together with Rye, but ultimately it was the best decision, and I'm so glad that we did it and put ourselves out there. So I would just say you got to follow your gut and trust your instincts and go when it feels right. I will say, if you are too comfortable and you just feel like you're in a very repetitive / comfortable work environment and you don't feel like you're being challenged or pushed to be better or pushed to learn more, then traveling is a very exciting, perfect situation for the type of people that want to get out of your comfort zone and learn and grow in a very fast-paced environment and meet new people. It's been so much fun and really not that scary. I was super nervous at first, which I totally get if you are in that same position, but I am so glad that we did it. What travel agency are you going through? So I am using Aya Healthcare as my travel agency. I have nothing bad to say about it so far. Just something I've noticed is that different travel agencies have like priority over certain hospital systems. So depending on where you want to travel, it might be more beneficial to go with a different company. For instance, coming to Seattle, Aya seemed to have basically all the good hospital priority. So all the travelers at my hospital come from Aya. So it's kind of interesting. I think you can just kind of Google that. And I know there's a lot of different travel agencies out there. So don't take my word for gold, but it's been a great experience so far. I have a really nice recruiter that's really responsive and a whole team of people that help me just with the day-to-day stuff. They can help answer questions if you are missing a compliance item. You have a whole team of people that are there to help to renegotiate your contract for extensions, all those types of things. So Aya Healthcare, super enjoyed it so far. Highly recommend. Babe.
Yeah?
I can hear your thing.
I'm so sorry. That's my mistake.
Someone said, is it as scary as the jump seems? So, oh, Chippy. Hi, honey. I will say, hi, Chippy Dove. I will say that having my sister-in-law at the hospital definitely helped the transition tremendously. I don't know if I could fully answer this like it might be for some of you based on not knowing anyone. If I didn't know anyone, I could see how it would be a little bit scarier. However, the way that they did it for me, we had like 3 days of orientation. I've heard some of you respond saying that you only had 1 day of orientation. Some people said you didn't have any orientation. So this might differ hospital to hospital, but I had about 3 days of orientation and I was in a cohort of 4 of us travelers. First time, or yeah, actually we were all first time travelers too, which was kind of cool. But anyway, so you meet people, like I met 3 nurses right off the bat and we all went through like our little orientation together. So that was really nice. And then educators obviously were the ones training us. So I met the educators, and then the 4th day I was with preceptor, or actually no, sorry, the 3rd day, second half of the day I was with the preceptor, and then Thursday I was on my own. I think that's how it went. So regardless, you meet people pretty quickly and we kind of formed a bond because we were like going through or starting our contracts together. So you can definitely meet people that way. And then just a lot of places I've heard start, and again, this is OR specific, but a lot of places start travelers giving breaks and lunches, and then you get to meet a whole bunch of nurses, a whole bunch of techs, a whole bunch of surgeons, which it was what they did with me, and it was actually a really good way to find my way around, meet people, and just not feel like the odd man out. Okay, how do you deal with the anxiety of new staff and surgeons? This didn't really give me anxiety that much. I think definitely not the new staff. The staff at this hospital, I will say, has been so welcoming and so sweet. I think if I had a different experience, which I've heard a lot of travelers do have, where they're kind of standoffish to travelers or not very helpful or give you just the crappy assignments, that just has not been my experience, so I can't really speak specifically to that. However, to the surgeons aspect of the question, I think that I've just worked in surgery for so long, I'm into my 7th year, where I know how to handle surgeons pretty well, and I just try my best not to take anything personally. This hospital, it's a teaching hospital, so there are interns and residents and med students and then the attending surgeons. So it has been, again, a really good experience because there's so much help. A lot of people are still learning, so you never really feel like you're the only one that doesn't know things, if that makes sense. So that's been really helpful. And I would just say, you're never gonna know what you don't know, and I think that was my mindset going in. It's like, I'm here and I'm gonna do my best and I'm gonna work really hard and earn my keep, basically, and prove to these people that I know what I'm doing, and that's kind of exactly what I did pretty quickly. So I think you just earn their respect and this hospital also has so many surgeons that they're not going to remember me. They're not going to remember me by name. So it kind of makes it easier in a sense too, that even if you don't know something or you don't get a supply super fast, or do something perfectly, they're probably not going to remember you anyways, because there's so many staff members and there's so many travelers and there's so many people coming in and out all the time. So that was another thing that was kind of new to me, is just, yeah, being such a small fish in a large pond. But it's been a really nice change. Someone said, what are you doing for health insurance? Did you have to make any changes for this? So yes, I used to get health insurance through my previous job. When we transitioned, I just went on to my husband's insurance and stayed with United Healthcare. So that was a pretty seamless transition. Aya does offer health insurance to their travelers, and I know most travel agencies do. So it's the agency that you get your health insurance through, not the hospitals that you're like bouncing around to, obviously. So just ask your recruiter or your travel agency and they'll be able to give you all the information on health insurance. But yeah, I just decided it was probably going to be easier since I didn't know how long I'd be traveling for, and it was actually more cost effective to just go on to Ryan's plan. Someone said, how much experience do you think you need to be an OR travel nurse? I would say the more experience the better, especially if you're going to go travel to a bigger facility with a whole bunch of different cases. I think in general, I would say at least 2 years of experience would be preferred, just because anything is going to get thrown at you at any time, and you're also just going to get thrown into cases that you probably haven't done before, but you'll figure out very quickly how to do it. Like that's happened to me here, and I've gotten thrown into general cases I haven't done, neuro cases that I haven't done before, but I know enough to figure it out. And again, there's a lot of help. So I think the more experience that you have with different surgeons, with different scrubs, with different specialties, and then different cases within each specialty, the better, because it's just going to give you a wider range of information to kind of think back on when you're in a new place, in a new environment, you don't know where things are, all the above. So I would say at least 2 years of experience would be best, but even more than that and you'll be awesome. Okay, someone said, how do benefits work? So again, I think this is going to depend on your travel agency that you choose, but you do get 401k, you get health insurance like I mentioned, and there's sick days, things like that. So it's pretty much very similar to if you worked in a hospital. It's just that all the benefits come from the travel agency. So again, I'm sure they kind of differ based on agency, so just check with your recruiter and ask. It's all built into your contract as well, so you want to make sure that you are reading every word on your contract and that you're getting the best scenario for you and your family. But there are benefits, and they are pretty darn good benefits. Someone said, how is the pay increase? The pay increase has been really nice. It is so amazing getting paid once a week. Just to see that huge amount into your bank account every week is really, really nice. And I wasn't quite expecting it to feel so good. Again, it is kind of expensive to live here, so it's not like, I think a lot of people think, oh, go travel nurse for all the money. There are some stipulations, like you do, in order to get the full amount of the weekly amount that you see when people post about these like crazy weekly rates. In order to get all of that, it's a housing stipend, a food stipend, and your hourly rate at the hospital. And in order to get the housing stipend, you have to be paying rent or prove that you're paying rent or paying for your mortgage in another state. So that's how they get away with that. So in order for it to be super cost effective for them, you have to prove that you're paying rent somewhere else. So it's kind of a confusing thing that I wasn't quite sure how it worked before starting either. So again, your recruiter can give you way better information than I am currently doing, but it's expensive still. Like life still is expensive. We're paying rent in Seattle now, which is a whole nother expense. The gas prices, the food, the dining, like all of the things that we're doing have been so fun and so adventurous, and no complaints at all, but life's still expensive. So while the money coming in is super nice, and a lot higher than what I was getting paid, but it has been really nice and definitely no complaints on the pay front. Someone said, how long do you plan to travel nurse for? I think this is something that we're just gonna kind of have to take it as it comes. I said in our last video, we are starting to try for a baby, so that is a factor in the scenario here. I did decide to extend my contract through December, so that's exciting. I did decide to stay here a bit longer. I'm enjoying it enough, and my sister-in-law is also extending. And then we have a family trip planned at the end of the year, which will take us through until January. So as of now, I'm travel nursing until the end of December, and then kind of TBD. I could see myself wanting to do it for a little while longer after that. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I could see myself doing it for years. I think that it's been so fun, and I'm so glad we did it at this time. It was like the perfect opportunity before we do grow our family and all of those things. However, I do see how it can get really tiring moving around, for one, and two, I think I definitely am a person that likes to have my own space, my own stuff. Renting a house again is super weird after owning our own home for 3 years. It's a very different experience. Again, getting us out of our comfort zone, challenging us to do something new, and it's been great. I'm so grateful for it, but I could see us wanting our house again, being kind of in a more steady environment and figuring out what comes after that. So stay tuned. I will let you guys know as we move along. Yeah, I think that about wraps it up. You guys had some really good questions, so thank you for that. Oh, one other thing I wanted to touch on that nobody really asked about, but the way that we found our housing here is through Furnished Finder. We get a lot of questions on that. I feel like just from like family friends or people I meet at the hospitals and things like that, like, oh, how'd you find your housing? Because the travel agencies will and can find you housing. However, what I've heard is that then they take a portion, if not all, of your housing stipend. I don't really know how that works, but you want to get all of that housing stipend and then find a place that's a lot less expensive to live if possible. So that's what we've been doing, and we found it through Furnished Finder. That's how we ended up finding the renter for our house back in Colorado through Furnished Finder. So highly recommend. It's usually a lot of places that are either mother-in-law suites or homes that are going to be cheaper than oh shoot, okay, it stopped recording. I don't know when it stopped. It seems to be a lot of like mother-in-law suites, townhomes, smaller homes that are a lot less expensive than, say, if you went through Zillow or other websites like Redfin to find rental properties. And for the most part, everyone on Furnished Finder has like a 30-day minimum, so it's really nice if you're just doing a shorter contract or even up to 13-week contracts. They're usually pretty good about giving you the dates that you need, and there's lots of flexibility on like move in and move out from what we've experienced. So that's been really nice. Highly recommend Furnished Finder. Another one that I know people use, it's called Zeus, Z-E-U-S. And that's another one, and it's a little bit more luxury housing, so price does go up a little bit, but all furnished places, just like Furnished Finder is, obviously. But if you're going to travel and you're only in a place for 13 weeks, obviously you want a place that's furnished. You don't want to have to lug all your furniture all around with you, and especially if you have another place that you're renting or you have a home that you own, it's not very cost effective for anybody to lug all your stuff around. So Furnished Finder has been great. That's how we found our housing, and I think that's everything I wanted to touch on so far. I think I would say the highs have just been proving to myself that I can do it. I'm a travel nurse now. It's so exciting to say. I feel like, let's see, it is probably, I started at end of July, August, so I'm probably like 2.5 months into my contract, and I feel confident. I feel like I know where things are. I feel like I know a lot of people, and I've gotten to work with a lot of different surgeons, a lot of different specialties, so I feel like I'm in a really good place now, and I don't feel like the newbie anymore. There actually was just another round of travelers that came in and started today, so I was like, oh, I remember when I felt like you and I knew nothing and I thought this place was a legit maze that I was never gonna figure out, and now I've figured it out and I feel totally comfortable. So that's probably been the high, and also just getting to experience a new place with Rye and Chippy. And if I had to go with a low, it probably would just be feeling homesick and feeling like, you know, we miss having our own space and our own home, and just renting again. I think that would be the main low. But all in all, it's been such a fun experience. Thank you guys for following along. If you have any additional questions, comment them below. I'd like to do these little check-ins or Q&As here and there throughout the next couple months as we continue along this journey. So wow, that was beautiful. That was the washer ending. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I will see you next time for the next video. Until then, happy fall.